Let's begin with what interest is. Interest is the cost of borrowing money, usually expressed as a percentage. The borrower of money can be you or the bank. When you deposit money in the bank, that bank is the borrower. When you take out a loan, you are the borrower. Regardless of who is doing the borrowing, they are the one responsible for paying the interest. Believe it or not, when you make a deposit of your money in the bank, they will then use that money to give loans to other customers. Now, this does not mean if the money you put in the bank is loaned to another customer, you cannot withdraw it for your own use. Actually, all the money all the patrons of a bank deposit sits in a big pot. At any time, you can take your money and run. But when you are not using it, the bank will loan it to other customers and charge them interest. The interest charged on a loan far exceeds the interest banks pay you for their business, and that is how banks make money. There are two types of interest. The first we will discuss is simple interest. With simple interest, interest is paid on the principal amount of the loan or deposit. Let's look at an example. Here we have a bank balance or loan amount at the beginning of year 1 of $5,000. This very beginning balance is called the principal. It is important to know that principal is the initial amount deposited or borrowed. When calculating simple interest, this is the only amount interest is calculated off of. So with a 10% interest rate, the amount of interest earned in year 1 is $500. You multiply the principal of $5,000 by 0.10, which is 10% converted to a decimal. The interest earned is then added back to the beginning balance for year 1 of $5,000 to give an updated account or loan balance. Now we move on to year 2. Pay close attention that the balance eligible to earn interest is the original amount or principal of $5,000. With the same interest rate, the same amount of interest is earned in year 2. That amount is added to the previous year's ending balance of $5,500 to give a new ending balance of $6,000. The process is repeated for years 3, 4, and so on, with interest being earned only on the principal and then being added to the previous year's ending balance. The formula used to calculate simple interest is the principal times interest rate. Compound interest is the second way in which interest is calculated, and this is the one used most often. With compound interest, you are paid interest on the principal plus any previous interest earned. Let's take a look at this example here. If you notice, year 1 is the same as it was when we calculated simple interest. We take the principal, multiply it by the interest rate, and then add the interest earned back into the principal to get the year 1 ending balance. When we go down to year 2, we notice this is where things change when calculating compound interest. Notice, for year 2, the balance eligible for interest is actually the previous year's ending balance of $5,500. So you will earn interest on your principal of $5,000 plus the interest earned in year 1. When we calculate interest earned, we find it is $550. And when we add that back in to the previous year's balance, we find our ending balance is $6,050. This is $50 more than when simple interest is calculated in year 2. Moving down to year 3, we see the balance eligible for interest is the year 2's ending balance of $6,050. Interest earned is $605, giving us a year 3 ending balance of $6,655. The process is completed for years 4 and 5, and we see that at the end of 5 years, when calculating compound interest at a rate of 10% for a principal balance of $5,000, we have an ending balance of $8,052.55. When we compare this with the same principal and interest rate calculated as simple interest, we see we earned $552 $1.55 more.